Okay, good evening. Planning Board is now in session, Monday, April 13th, 2020, 7:02 p.m. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30A-18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Planning Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at https://www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting or participate in the public hearing may do so in the following manner. And that's the website that I just read. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So tonight's meeting, Planning Board meeting, will consist of addressing the agenda items, which are the continued public hearings. And we plan to continue these hearings with no action or deliberation during tonight's meeting. So first item on the agenda is a public hearing scheduled for 7:05 p.m. and it has to do with annual town meeting warrant article. Amend section 174-10, site plan approval. This public hearing is continued from January 27th, February 10th, February 24th, March 9th, and March 23rd. So at this point, we would entertain a motion to continue the public hearing. And that would be to continue it to 7:05 p.m. at our next scheduled meeting, which is April 27th. Mr. Mills.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we continue the annual town meeting warrant article amend section 174-10 site plan approval to April 27th at 7:05 p.m.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Very good. Public hearing is continued. With the situation such that there may be a power outage and we're still on here during the storm. The next public hearing is scheduled for 7:10 p.m. However, since there'll be no deliberation or discussion, and it is only 7:07 p.m., I feel it's appropriate that we move into this public hearing, which is annual town meeting warrant article, amend sections 174-9 special permit requirements, 174-9 19 extensions or alterations. This public hearing is continued from January 27th, February 10th, February 24th, March 9th, March 23rd. So at this point, at this time, it would be appropriate to entertain a motion to continue this hearing to 7:10 p.m. on April 27th. Mr.
Mr.
Mills,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we continue annual town meeting warrant article amend section 174-9 special permit requirements and 174-19 extensions or alterations to 7:10 p.m. on April 27th, 2020.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Very good. Public hearing is continued. Again, while we still have power, I think it's appropriate that we move on to the next agenda item, which is a continued public hearing, annual town meeting warrant article update section 174-12.1, outdoor illumination. This public hearing is continued from January 27th, February 10th, February 24th, March 9th, March 23rd. At this point, it would be appropriate to entertain a motion to continue this hearing to 7:15 p.m. on April 27th. Mr. Mills,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we continue the annual town meeting warrant article update section 174-12.1 outdoor illumination to April 27th at 7:15 p.m.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Excellent. That public hearing is now continued. So the rest of our agenda consists of the planner's report, approval of meeting minutes, and then discussion of the next meeting. Karina, did you want to go on now?
Yeah, sure. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the first thing in the planner's report is because of the health crisis, the town administrator and the Board of Selectmen have asked, departments to look at their budgets for fiscal year 20, which the state right now has said is going to carry to finish out the year. But the town administrator indicated that there would be no discretionary spending. In other words, if we didn't have to buy something that is not really necessary, we should hold off on that. And little things like that. So I wanted to just have the planning board revisit and confirm that Don Morris as chair would continue to work with me to review the budget to make sure that we do what we can to help during this crisis, but also maintain operations for the planning board and the planning department.
So the
Does that
question,
make sense?
the question to the board is, as we've done in past years, relied on the chairman and the town planner to make adjustments to the budget up, down, or to keep it the way it is, and keeping the board fully informed of our either questions or actions. So, or we could do it as a group, going over each of the items in session with the rest of the board. So what's your choice?
So, and let me just say one more, there's two things here. There's the fiscal year 20 budget, which we're operating under right now, which is what the town, wanted to just be careful with discretionary spending. the fiscal year 21 budget is up for approval when the annual town meeting happens. So Don and I, when we prepared the fiscal year 20 budget last spring, that one's already set, but there are, sometimes there's a little bit of money left over here and there. And I just want to confirm that with Dawn or the planning board, so.
I would be comfortable with continuing as we have in the past, Don, that you work with Karina to make minor adjustments, and if there's anything major, you'd come back before update the rest of the planning board.
Anyone else?
Yes, I'm in agreement with Mr. Mills.
Me also, that's fine.
Yes, I would agree.
Very good. That's the way we'll proceed for now. See where it takes us. What else you have,
All right.
Karina?
Thank you. The next item is regarding these remote meetings. As you know, we've been continuing the public hearings for the zoning amendments that are proposed for the upcoming town meeting. And we haven't opened it to public participation in the sense that they participate in real time during the meeting. Right now, we have YouTube videos that are being recorded, and then there's a 10-second delay, and they're live streamed in that manner, but nobody really can call in and participate, whether it's an applicant, etc. So I wanted to find out how the board wanted to proceed with the upcoming meetings, whether we would like to hold in this fashion until things are clearer and we can have complete, full public participation to be compliant with open meeting law. Just know that the state has expanded provisions for permitting timeframes now as of April 3rd. I sent everybody a copy of that bill, and it's on the Dropbox with some changes that they made in order to help boards and committees who have limitations and are concerned with open meeting law. In other words, if you have someone submit an application, there's no time frames at this point while we're in the emergency status that the state has. How long before a planning board can actually have a public hearing and those types of standard deadlines. When decisions have to be put in. There are ultimate deadlines, though, for once the public emergency is over, that the planning board would have to hold hearings and take action 45 to 60 days, depending on what that particular provision is. So the question is, does the planning board want to hold, or do we want to attempt to move forward with a meeting that actually will hold public participation to the extent that it can with the setup that we're using right now with Zoom? I can tell you that we have a potential A&R for 19 Ward Road, which is the combination of two lots. I don't have anything submitted yet, but they would be interested in submitting for the April 27th meeting. They are aware, though, that it's based on the direction that the planning board decides on this evening. In this case, it's a parcel and a smaller parcel that was purchased, and the applicant will want to sell their property. The A&R to combo the two lots could be done before or after. They'd like to do it before, but they were talking to the attorneys. The other thing we have on the plate is we have Chestnut Hill Farm has a proposed barn reconstruction from Deerfoot Road, and they've submitted their application, and they've given us some supplemental information that we asked for, but it has not been filed with town clerk yet, and they are aware of that. At this point, they would not make the April 27th meeting anyway, because we still need the 3.5-week lead time to get it published in the paper. So those are the two things on the horizon. So it's not earth-shattering, but it's, the board has to decide if they want to take on the public participation piece of these remote meetings. Sorry, that was one long sentence.
So, if you want me to go first, I will. I feel that we should, we're continuing to get guidance, and we're also watching how the selectmen are doing their meeting. Their business seems to be quite a bit different than what would prompt us to take full action at a meeting. Our public hearings for site plan and other things usually involve a lot of questions, a lot of public participation. And I would recommend that since the items before us are so limited and relatively not time sensitive, that we approach our April 27th meeting as we have this meeting and our previous meeting, which is to address the continued public hearings and conduct a meeting with no deliberation or decisions. Tonight, we're being asked to make a decision relative to public participation, but that's administrative and we're allowed to do that. So I think at this point, I would recommend that we try to have our next meeting as we have this meeting and our previous meeting with no deliberations. That could change, and there's 2 weeks between now and our next meeting. So if something did come up where we would have to have a deliberation, we would have the ability to adjust to that. Just my opinion.
Yeah,
Anyone
Don,
else?
I would support that approach going forward too. If something really pertinent and pressing came along, that we would adjust. But at this point, I would agree with the items that are coming before us. And Karina, if you get feedback from the people who are looking for projects to come that it's really pressing, then
Mm-hmm.
notify us, and we could adjust. But at this point, I would be in favor of what Don recommended.
Okay.
Mr. Stein?
I'm also of the opinion that, given the current situation, everyone's best served if we maintain the same format and try to delay or push out any public participation until absolutely necessary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mrs. Luttrell?
I'm in agreement. I think, especially for a project that the community would be very interested in, I think it's difficult to participate over Zoom. I've watched some of the selectmen's meetings. I don't know if they've had much public participation in theirs. I would think it would be better to hold off and have the hearings as we usually do.
Thank you. Mrs. Houlihan?
I'm in agreement with the rest of the planning board.
Very good. So Karina, that's the way we'll approach the next meeting.
Okay.
And of
Thank you
course,
very much for the feedback.
if new,
Yeah.
if new applications, new prospective projects appear before us, before you, in the next couple of days or weeks, you'll let us know and we can adjust our decision if necessary. And we know that you'll deal with any proponents and relay to them what we basically just discussed.
Yes, I'll do that. And if anything changes, I will let everyone know immediately so that we can adjust and go assist as much as we can.
What else we got?
We have meeting minutes. I also sent earlier this afternoon executive session minutes, which are not for discussion, but if everyone had had a chance to look at them and if there were no comments, they could be approved for format this evening. If not, they can be pushed to the next meeting. And these were executive sessions from an executive session at the March 9th, 2020 Planning Board meeting. So
Yeah,
if anybody needs more time.
I looked at them and I do have a question or a comment, so I would suggest that we deal with it as your email indicated as to how to comment on possible changes.
Okay.
When you say vote on it by format, what does that accomplish?
What it does, if the planning board votes on them for format, that means people have reviewed the context of the meeting minutes and agree to what is transcribed there. The next step would be in the future, once any pending litigation is over, then they would be released for public posting with the town clerk. So it can be done in 2 stages. You can already have them agree to the content, the planning board is on board and approves the content, but they don't approve them for release yet.
Yeah, I have a question on content.
Okay. Yep,
Anyone
I did
else?
kind of late today, so.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them yet, so I'd be in favor of holding off.
Okay, and then if everybody can send me their comments if they have them individually. And then I
Anything
will get
else?
with Kate Battles for revisions, because
We
Kate's
have,
the one who. drew them up.
We have the March 23rd meeting minutes, right?
Yes,
Anybody want to move to approve those?
Make a motion, we approve the March 23rd meeting minutes as written and recorded.
Normally, I would second the motion. However, I have not reviewed the minutes, so at this point, I would be abstaining.
So we'll move those to the next meeting.
okay, that works.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hope everyone's safe. Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes?
Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes.
All right,
Very good.
excellent.
Great, thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Tom.
Sarah.
Stay healthy.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Sarah.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye. Good to see everybody.
Thanks, Tom, too.